Hello, friends, listeners, party people. Welcome back to another episode of Party XP. I'm your host, Lakan, and joining me is my friend, John. He's another guest. He's the first guest of this second year of our show. Say hi, John.
Hi, John.
Listeners, John is a newcomer to the show. He's an old friend of mine as well, same as Jeff and other Jeff. John, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Hi, my name is John. It is not Jeff. There's no third Jeff. I'm sorry if you were looking for a pattern. I have known Lakan for well over 20 years now.
At this point, right? Yeah.
Well over 20 years.
We met in kindergarten?
No,
first grade.
First grade.
Okay, I remember that.
I was one of those lucky kids who didn't go to kindergarten and therefore did not make friends.
You missed out on nap time. That was the best part of kindergarten, honestly.
Yes, I missed out on nap time. I was kept home. So, but in that time, while I was not taking kindergarten, I got into video games, obviously.
Okay.
Nintendo 64 was my first system.
Oh, you're a little later then.
Yeah. So I didn't get any like Super Nintendos or Sega or anything like that.
Or NES or really.
Yeah. So it was Nintendo 64.
Okay.
My first true game was Super Mario 64.
That's a wild time to jump in. Your first game's a 3D game.
Yeah.
That's kind of sick.
Yeah. So that was like my first memory, first game and everything. So and just like the awesome kid I was, I in no way beat that game. I was completely awful.
To be fair, most of us as kids didn't beat that game either. Don't worry about it.
I reeked of awfulness. In most games I just did not beat.
Okay, that's fair.
So, but yeah, Nintendo 64, Super Mario, and then was on Nintendo train as far as handhelds and the console until I stumbled upon PlayStation 2.
Were you on the GameCube, the Game Boy train with us too back in
I was on Game Boy, yeah.
Okay, so did you play Pokemon with us we all did as kids?
Yeah, I played the original, advanced color, things like that.
Right, okay.
And then eventually I got a PlayStation 2 and have been on the PlayStation train ever since then.
Okay, so your most of stuff is PlayStation at this point.
Yeah, most of my stuff is PlayStation. I dabble in Nintendo here and there when I have opportunities, but mostly it's been PlayStation lately.
Yes, it's usually the exclusives are the things that's interesting from Nintendo side, right?
Yeah, there's always a ton of stuff interesting from Nintendo.
Yeah.
And I still special place in my heart for anything Zelda. Obviously Pokemon. It kills me every time I miss a Pokemon game.
Yeah, you gotta. Did you get your Switch yet or not yet?
Huh?
You get your Switch yet?
No, I've gotten a Switch for somebody else. I got it for my girlfriend mom. Did not get one for myself.
Bro, get one already for yourself. You can actually catch up with the backlog now in Nintendo games.
Yeah, the only problem is time. It's just yeah. Especially I've now devoted some of my time to Destiny, which is immediately a mistake.
Yeah. So John and I are part of the. We were all part of a raid crew, basically, and John and I think the only ones who still play the game in any manner. John, you still play it relatively regularly, right?
I played. I was playing it last night.
Oh, there you go.
The new season.
There you go. And I still play it kind of I play usually halfway through the season's done. I'll pick up the next DLC or expansion basically, and I'll just play it by myself because for me the grinding is exhausting for me at this point. I just like playing for the story at this point.
Yeah, they're supposedly doing away with the grinding a little bit, but we'll see.
We'll see I've heard a little bit. I've heard a little bit of their idea behind it.
Yeah,
so it'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to see how it actually plays out because from what I'm hearing, some people are not exactly happy with the way things have turned in the game so far. But I've heard also the ideas there, but they just need to clean it up basically.
Destiny in general is always polarizing. It's always a polarizing game. That's the best way I can describe it to somebody.
So aside from Destiny as your current modern game, what other games did you mostly play? Did you play fighters, sport games, or did you play shooters at all? Or
so I think my life is best described as phases at this point. Starting out, I was probably just playing anything. Honestly,
yeah.
I was a kid with video games.
Your kid, you're just consuming. Just give me anything I can, I'll play it.
So just gorging myself on games.
Yeah.
So So I kind of my Nintendo 64 days was probably just any game I could get my hands on. Then once I got to PS2, I started drifting more concentrated towards sports games at that point. So that's when Madden started being a big deal for me. NBA Live at the time.
Fair,
transitioned to NBA 2K when I went to college. So sports games was a big portion of my teens.
Is that your bread and butter, or is that
not anymore. No, because it's I don't know. Online play is weird for me. Online play is weird for me. And funnily enough, like during this whole time, was barely into any first person shooters. Like almost never touched a first person shooter.
Really? Okay.
Yes. So y'all were
Destiny though.
Huh?
How
Yeah, that's the so like first person shooters basically completely foreign to me.
Okay.
And then when Modern Warfare, like the first iteration of it,
COD 4.
Yeah,
like
COD 4.
The one that everyone kind of jumped on. Okay.
Yes. Saw like that. And then and then played a little bit with like I guess y'all or some other friends in college and stuff like that a little bit, and was like, wow, this looks pretty cool. So Modern Warfare 2 also came out, and then it super exploded.
Yeah,
more.
You couldn't get away from it anymore.
Yeah.
And then Battlefield, of course, was competing at the time too.
Yeah, so all those things were happening. So eventually, I jumped into the COD pool, and I jumped in with Black Ops.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good one to jump into, to be fair.
Jumped into Black Ops. And
as your first real shooter that you were like really spending time playing?
Yes.
That's kind of cool.
So yeah, jumped into Black Ops, put a lot of hours into Black Ops, Black Ops 2, Advanced Warfare, all the whole line. And that was kind of like my foray into first person shooters, and that's how I eventually got to Destiny.
Okay.
Yeah, going through there.
Huh.
Yeah.
How Destiny with no Halo background?
So Destiny, I think what was in my mind at the time, and I think this also goes into my transition of like what I play now. The idea of a first-person shooter with an adventuring element always like seemed interesting to me as like a concept. I wasn't like privy to like Fallout or anything like that per se.
Or
as
like Borderlands or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't super privy to those at the time. So like I was always thinking like, oh, like COD would be so cool if they just like added like just a map and you just get to like explore stuff with whatever. And as I was moving towards like more adventure-based games, more story-based games, role-playing and stuff like that, Destiny comes out. I was like, oh, we're basically in a first-person shooter that's an MMO. And I'm just like, yeah, that's like kind of what I was kind of looking to like for it to meld into. And then like, so I jumped into it. I remember when I got it because my mom got me the as a birthday gift the PlayStation 4. PlayStation 4 with Destiny. It was a white PlayStation 4 with Destiny.
Okay.
As part of the pack, and I was playing that on my awful DSL internet. Please do not
play online shooters with DSL internet.
Luckily, this generation and no future generation will ever have to go through that again because it was awful.
Bro, we were the trenches. Well, I mean, even more so. Like I played PC a lot, so like even back in the day, playing like Age of Empires and like Counter Strike. Imagine trying to play that with crappy internet, dude. That was rough.
Dude, I couldn't. It was funny because with my internet, I couldn't play any Crucible matches with more than 6 players in it.
Oh, you couldn't handle like all the information coming in. That's wild, dude. So you had to hope that somebody backed out of the games so you could actually play the game. That's so stupid.
So it was awful.
That's terrible.
So I was doing that struggle, but I somehow got to max level despite all of my struggles.
Look at you.
Yeah, like I pushed through all of that. No clan, no like other people playing with me and anything. And then and of course, like way later on, after I convinced my family, like, listen, we need to get actual Wi-Fi in here,
like actual Wi-Fi, actual good internet on top of it. Yeah.
So after convincing them of that, I went ahead and was playing more, and then like I don't know how I stumbled across it, but like Gabe and Tim, I found out like, oh, they also played.
Yeah, I remember like Tim and Gabe, like, and because I was like also kind of like on the outer ring of their group because they were the ones who were hardcore into it, and then I remember like them like just be like, what the hell, John? You didn't tell us you played Destiny?
I was like, you guys didn't tell me you played Destiny. What do you mean? How was I supposed to know what you guys were doing?
Yeah, and that was the start of us playing together.
Yeah,
like games like properly together. Because again, we grew up playing like some sports games together. Like again, like we go to a friend's house and play Madden or play like some wrestling games.
Yeah, we would play Smash every so often.
Yeah, Smash every once in a while too. But those are all like local play. Yeah, but then we realized like, oh, should you actually play an online game with us? Cool. We're in the raid crew now. We're making it happen.
Yeah. So nowadays, I still play Destiny. Now I go through phases playing Destiny. I'm playing it now. Definitely a lot of adventuring games / like RPG games.
Okay.
Like anything that has like a linear-ish story or like a linear story with like lots of open world side missions or open world games.
Like an expansive world type of deal. Okay, word.
Yeah, I'm super into that.
Into like open like lore and stuff like that. Okay, word.
So,
okay.
yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know exactly what you, because I remember like back in the day, like I only knew playing like sports games with you and occasionally fighting games. That was really about it.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's kind of wild hearing now, like, oh, you came in actually during COD, but you weren't really playing like everyone else was on the same train kind of deal.
Yeah.
You kind of came into like your current state of like shooting games very late.
Yeah, like even playing like online competitive like shooting, like even those modes, like I don't do that as much as I used to. Like I was all about online, like popping noobs, all that stuff. Yeah, get good, elite skills, all that stuff.
Trash talking the lobby and stuff.
Yeah, I was all about that, and I got to a point where like I was pretty solid. So but then like I put it down for so long, and then like obviously things change with mechanics and stuff, and like I'm like, and you can attest to that, brutal at times. Like Warzone, I was awful. Like let me tell you, I am dog water.
Yeah, John during the beginning of the pandemic, the lockdowns, when everyone was stuck at home and everyone and their mother seemed to be playing Warzone, John was with us, and basically we were just dragging his dead corpse across the finish line most of the time.
Absolute dog water. I don't know why and it's funny too, because like occasionally when they have like free COD would have like free lobbies, like occasionally.
Yeah. For a weekend or whatever.
Yeah, for multiplayer, and I would do fine there. Like I would always go positive.
I think it's the BR. Yeah. The BR is a very specific thing, a very specific like skill set to actually learn how to play kind of deal. I think that's what it is.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely trash at that. That's why I was like, I can't do this competitive first-person shooter stuff anymore.
That's fair. That's perfectly fine. Yeah. It's always not everything's gonna click for you anyway. That's perfectly fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, we met. Maybe we'll do another episode, just you and me shooting the shit, or maybe we're talking about like a specific topic that we both are pretty like open about, and then we'll cover that as an extra episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, for this episode, again, that was a short introduction to John here, so we have a little bit of an idea of what he's about in terms of gaming. And actually, I'm gonna roll back a little bit here. The reason why I brought John is for the first episode of this second year of our podcast is because it relates to the first episode we ever made as a podcast. Do you remember a game called Slay the Spire?
Oh, do I remember?
Yeah, so I got John into Slay the Spire after we're in a group chat as well, and I remember throwing it out there, and then I remember seeing one day that John had picked it up. He posted a picture of him winning a run, I think it was. And I was like, oh shit, John plays Slay the Spire. It's awesome. Someone else actually listened to me. Because I throw out game recommendations in the chat relatively regularly, and that I usually get ignored or whoopsie dude. But I see John actually post something and like, oh shoot, he actually checked it out from how did you get into Slay the Spire?
So Slay the Spire, I get the majority of my games now through PlayStation Network's monthly games.
Yeah.
And
good deal.
No, it honestly is.
Not sponsored, by the way.
Yeah, not sponsored. Hashtag not an ad.
Yeah, we're just covering our base. We're not trying to get in trouble.
Yeah. But yeah, so it came up as one of the monthly games, and I was like, I remember this because obviously Lakan mentioned it. I also realized like later on that I had seen it like years ago in a stream. Someone was playing it. Did not know what the game was at the time when they were recording it. So but everything clicked at that moment when I got it. I was like, oh, okay, that's the game Lakan mentioned, and started playing it, and had very little experience in roguelike games. Only played really Crypt of the Necrodancer, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, so you have some experience at least with roguelike. So you understand like losing is part of the game. Like, you have to like eventually just lose to get good, basically.
Yeah, basically. So like I kind of gathered like what the deal was, but like still very like amateur.
It's fine. We all start somewhere, basically.
Yeah. So started getting into it. And like was a fan of like the dungeony aspect. Was a fan of like the card aspect of it. The being able to build a strategy on the fly and build like a deck on the fly and build your character out on the fly was cool. I like the relics. Like there was so much of it that was like so appealing to me that I end up sinking so much time into it, and like I'm even still playing it from time to time now. It probably will replace my Destiny time if I ever decide to put Destiny down.
It's one of those things you don't realize you sink so much time into until you've played it for like 4 hours straight, and you're like, oh, that was like 5 runs.
No, like for real, like I check the time before I get on to like play, because I have to make sure that like I have 3 hours, so I really have like 2 runs.
Yeah, because you also see the timer on the top of the screen too. But yeah, so relating to Slay the Spire, I have a game for you that's kind of similar actually. I found it around the same time that like I started playing Slay the Spire. I started getting decent at Slay the Spire because I was just like looking for more games that were similar to it. I was like, I love this game. I need to find more of this, basically. So I ended up finding this game called Dicey Dungeons. Have you ever heard of it?
From you now.
Well, there you go. So, a little information here. Dicey Dungeons is a 2019 roguelike deck building game. Perfect, right? Right up your alley then,
yes.
hopefully, right?
Yes.
Developed by Irish game developer Terry Kavanagh. It was released for Windows, Mac, and Linux in August 2019. Switch in December 2020. Xbox One and Series consoles in November 2021. And PS4 and PS5 in February 2023. A little bit late on that one. And then they also actually got iOS and Android port back in July 2022. So Kavanaugh announced Dicey Dungeons in May 2018 after about 3 months of prior development. The game was inspired by one of the first roguelike deck builder games called Dream Quest. I don't know if you've ever heard of that one. That was a little bit of like an older game. Yeah, kind of dig through it a little bit.
Yeah, the name is familiar.
Okay, but, yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure that one's only on the PC, but that's kind of the grandfather of like all these like deck building roguelike games. Like Slay the Spire is also inspired from that, basically.
Got it.
The art is created by Marlo Dobb and music by Chipsel. The game, so the setting of this game is a little bit different. The game takes place in a game show-esque setting. So, with Slay the Spire being more of like a fantasy kind of element, right? Like, kind of dark if you think about it, right? You're kind of stuck in this Sisyphean like trap, you know what I mean? You fight your way through the spire, you win or lose, you die, and you basically just start over from the beginning again, right? This one's a little bit more like bright and kind of happy in terms of like theming. But you basically are challenged by Lady Luck. Your character has been turned into a living talking dice, basically. And your task is to complete the dungeons for a chance at winning back your freedom to be turned back into human, basically. There are 6 characters, each of them with different mechanics or gimmicks. So kind of like you have different characters in Slay the Spire, right? With different kind of play styles to them and different starting equipment. You navigate around a map and take on fights to progress through the dungeon. You can heal, fight, shop, and upgrade and move to the next floor on that map screen. So it's a little bit... I'll let you know right now, it's a little bit more free-flowing than Slay the Spire, where, like, Slay the Spire, like, no matter what, you're going up kind of deal. Here, the map is kind of like, kind of laid out in kind of like almost like a grid, where you can kind of move around and take fights in your order, exactly.
Okay.
When you win, you unlock more of the other characters and new episodes for the existing characters. Think of that as like Ascensions, where they change up the rules to make future runs more difficult. Combats are turn-based, and the way you activate your equipment or your cards is by rolling dice and using qualifying dice to activate abilities. So instead of having like a traditional card deck where you're drawing cards and hopefully you draw the things you need and then you be able to play them and do more and more stuff, basically, think of it as you have a small grid of anywhere from 3 to 6 abilities, basically, and you can use those dice to do damage. And you a main point of the game is to like learn how to manipulate dice. So say there's something that says it needs a 4 to activate, but you have a 3, but you have a card in your grid, your abilities to increase a dice's value by 1. So there you go. So now you have a 3, now you have a 4, and now you can actually use that ability, basically.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's kind of like the way the combat goes in this game. And each of the characters has a specific special ability that charges up over time through encounters and through gameplay, which is also used to manipulate dice or other effects, basically. And again, like I said before, I got into this game after falling down the Slay the Spire rabbit hole and was looking for other games that were very similar. And same thing for this one. Like Slay the Spire, I didn't realize I dumped like 20 hours into very quickly. Same with this game. Like, again, this during the beginning of the lockdown for me, where like I like was just sitting here, like, in the dark coming home from work, like, 5 a.m., no one else is awake. I'm like, what else am I playing? I guess I'll play this. And I would like stop playing and I realized, like, oh, I've played this for like 5 hours straight already. So yeah, very, very quickly I can fall into a rabbit hole with this game too. But yeah, does it sound interesting to you?
Yeah, no, it really does. I like the change in from like the aesthetic from what Slay the Spire is to what it sounds like it's going to be. And it's like something very interesting. The fact that it sounds like it has like more meta type.
A little bit, yeah. There's a decent amount of like meta humor in this game, which I really like, because so the Spire plays itself so straight, it's very serious and kind of dark fantasy.
Yeah,
this one's like more kind of like Lady Luck is all like does a little bit of fourth wall breaky stuff. You know what I mean? But it's a very fun game, lighthearted.
Yeah,
but by no means like completely simple. It's not like a child's game versus Slay the Spire. It's still a relatively difficult game.
Yeah, it's just a position of what the atmosphere says versus what you're actually going to be doing.
Yeah. So that's kind of like one of those things you'll notice, especially once you get into the game. But yeah, you have any questions?
No, I think it's pretty straightforward. I just can't wait to play.
Okay, cool. So, listeners, it's going to be a short break here, and by the time we're back, it'll be about a week or so, and then John will have gotten his hands on Dicey Dungeons, and we'll see how he feels about it. See you in a bit. Okay, listeners, we are back. It has been a week, and John has gotten his hands on Dicey Dungeons.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. got his grubby little bits on Dicey Dungeons. Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, but again, it's been a week or so. How have you been?
I've been good. I just came back from Texas.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What were you there for?
I was there for a wedding.
Okay, nice. Have a good time?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I need to go back to Texas at a different time to do more sightseeing.
Yeah.
We went to Austin.
Okay,
Yeah,
Austin's dope. Yeah, I've heard good things about Austin. I've got a friend who lives out there, and she's been like on my case to like come visit and see how it is over there. All I also hear from like her is like the food's really good, and I need to go out there for food.
So I had my first taste of a Ridge Tex-Mex cuisine.
Oh, okay.
And it was amazing.
Life-changing?
Dude, it was so amazing. First restaurant we went to, it was this place called Lupe Tortilla. Went just like outside the hotel. And when we went there, first thing, unlimited chips and salsa, which like I love tortilla chips. I love them to death. Yeah. So unlimited chips and salsa immediately was like, okay, this is already the best.
Real big for you. Yeah, I know you're a big chip guy. Every time we were playing online, I always like hear you
crunching, just crunching away. I try to put the mic away from my face, but
happens, I get it.
But so yeah, went through 3 of those
before your meal even happens.
Yeah. I was like, we don't need to order appetizers. This is it.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Just fried processed dough.
Yes, exactly. That's all I need. That's all anybody ever needs.
That's fair. Yeah, I would slam some tortillas as well too.
So yeah, and then I ordered I forgot what it was called, but basically it was like a marinade chicken topped with like pico de gallo and salsa and stuff, and then refried beans and rice and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I know it was so every part of it was delicious. And I had a mango margarita, which was the most delicious margarita I have ever had.
Okay.
It was a frozen margarita, amazing. Like it was so good. I got it before my meal.
Yeah.
Didn't finish it until like we basically were walking out the door, and alcohol to go, walk me downs. Super a thing in Texas. love the walk me downs. Yeah. They're super cool with it. Like, yeah, just here. You want something to go here?
Yeah, take it.
But the margarita like probably was at my table for like 40 minutes. Was still exactly the same consistency it was when it first hit my table.
That's a jam. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, they made this amazing, and it tasted great. I loved it. I was tempted to be like, babe, we got to go back here again before
we dip. I gotta have this margarita.
Yeah. But and then we went to another Tex-Mex place at an outdoor mall.
Word.
I had rotisserie chicken tacos there.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that was good, hearty, very hearty.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Again, limited tortilla chips. Had 2 margaritas there. I mean, the food, like generally, like my experience was mostly food based.
Yeah.
And then
that's how I experience any major city. Honestly, at this point, I'm boring.
Yeah, my girlfriend went on a river float.
Okay.
Yeah, so she did that. Spoiler alert: I can't swim, so I did not go. But she went on a river float. They were on the river for like 3.5 hours.
Oh damn!
Yeah,
the real chill, lazy river type of deal.
Yeah,
that's pretty dope.
Yeah, so she obviously got roasted by the sun.
Yeah, there's no getting away from it. Yeah.
So that happened, and but she had fun with that. And the wedding itself was cool. It was a traditional Jewish wedding.
Nice.
Yeah, my first experience with that.
They're fun, right?
Yeah, the rabbi made it really fun. A lot of crowd participation.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, we had to. It's a lot of like, come on guys, it's a wedding. Come on.
Yeah. Have fun. Come on guys, this is supposed to be fun.
Yeah. Come on.
Celebration of these 2 people.
Yeah. So it's a lot of that, but it was pretty funny. He was cool. It felt like it was one of those ceremonies where it was just like, the 2 people were like, they knew they wanted to do this, and they were just like, all the stress and all that stuff just comes
Yeah,
out in that
yeah.
moment, and you're just like, whew, okay, we're doing it. Like,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was a traditional Jewish wedding. The pamphlet for the wedding broke down every part of it and explained like the history of it and what its like Hebrew name of it is, and it was like I was like, wow. So learned a lot about Jewish weddings in that moment. Also got to help hoist up the chair.
Hey, let's go.
Yeah. So yeah,
it's hype, right?
Yeah, no, it is super hype. It is. Oh, dude.
It's funny because like we if you're not Jewish, obviously you just see it kind of in media, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're from we're from New Jersey, right? New Jersey, New York has like a pretty large Jewish population, spread all throughout, and like. Unless you're like invited to one of those events, you don't really get to see like all of it. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, being part of it is like it's like absolutely like kind of like different. It's really fun.
I think that's like the part that everyone like because you like you said in TV media, that's what you see.
Yeah, exactly.
So like that's my only experience of it. So like obviously when it was happening, everyone was like yeah. I'm ready for it. This is it. So of course like so like I helped lift up the bride chair with like 3 or 4 other people and. The thing is that I'm pretty sure like the guy is a bodybuilder and also does like other fitness stuff. And
so he needed all of his gym bros to lift him up. Basically.
So like basically his gym like he's not like terribly big. He's just extremely fit, but like he had all of his gym bros, which was basically like the wedding party and like other guys and stuff. Like go ahead and lift him up, and so like they're all like basically just pumping up, like getting their pump in like with this guy on the chair, and then like it's me, this other guy, and like 2 or 3 girls trying to lift up the bride, which the bride is not. She's small. Okay. She is small. Like I'm put up there. I'm just out of shape. Like I do not want to put out there that this woman was like normally heavy to pick up. No, I'm just awfully out of shape. I cannot lift more than a book.
Yeah, you're also more tortilla than man at that point.
Yes. I was hopped up on tortilla.
Margaritas.
I had.
You didn't have blood. You were just pumping margaritas.
I was also a few drinks in already.
Yeah.
So it was. Yeah, it was not a good time. So like I am lifting, and I don't know how much the other people are doing it.
How much effort is going on? You're in.
Yeah, like but we're going ahead. We're lifting her up in the air. We're like doing the thing, like
yeah.
And then like. We were doing that, what I am sure it was no longer than like a minute. It felt like an eternity.
Yeah, it does feel like a bit long. Yeah.
So like it got to the point where like we were lifting it up and whatever, and then we started looking at each other like, how much longer is this? Yeah.
So there's a bit of like a tradition with me and my friends, just because we get rowdy at weddings. So like usually we throw the groom into the air, like like a group of us. We're talking like 10, and like Gabe is usually like as well, part. So I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast, but my brother got married a couple weeks ago. Congratulations, Gabe, in April. So usually Gabe is involved in lifting up and throwing because Gabe's big. He's a big dude. He's really strong, and like usually like me as well. I'm the opposite because we're kind of like the corner, so to make sure nobody falls, kind of deal.
Yeah.
There was no way in hell we're throwing Gabe. we were thinking some of the guys were like, are we trying to do this for Gabe's wedding? I was like, no way in hell this is happening. But it's like funny because when we have like friends who are like smaller, like we can throw them, we just chuck them. They're in the air for like we're talking like it looks like 6 feet off from us. You know what I mean? We're chucking them. Oh, and then like when there's like a wedding and the dude's a little bit bigger, it's like we just see what we can do. As long as we don't drop them, and as long as we get them like a little bit of air, that's all that matters. So we get them there. So it's like, but yeah, it feels like how long are we tossing them for? Because if it's a bigger dude, we're like I got like 4 throws in me, and that's really about it.
It's always bad because like you basically are trying to mentally coordinate with strangers with you. Yeah, so like maybe you're like in your head like I think I got 2 or 3 in me, and then like someone's next to you like I got like 5.
And you're like I gotta keep up now. I gotta pump the chair.
Yeah, and so that's what it was feeling like. Cause they were going on the groom.
Yeah,
groom was So I was like I'm like on the bride. I'm like yo I don't know how much left I have. Like my arms are on fire. I'm just like oh boy I can't drop this woman. Like this is not gonna be good.
But that's cool. You had a good time though.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So yeah, it was.
Did you do any barbecue aside from the Tex-Mex or not?
I did not do barbecue. Like at the wedding we were talking about getting barbecue the day that we were leaving for the flight.
Yeah.
And my my girlfriend was confused about the time the flight was going to leave because I thought it was going to leave at a certain time.
Oh, you missed out.
And I thought like, oh, we were going to have time to go ahead and get barbecue, but it turns out it was
before you go to the airport type of deal.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh no, what we ended up doing was just literally just like getting breakfast at a quick diner and just like going straight to the airport.
That's a bummer. Yeah, because obviously the whole anything from the south is always like barbecue. That's
yeah,
the thing, right? So, yeah. I mean, you said you're gonna go back, so you might as well go get some barbecue the next time.
Yeah, I would have to go get some barbecue next. That's why I said like there's Austin seems like an extremely interesting place, so there's definitely need to be a time where it's just that.
Word. Yeah, so you had a pretty eventful week. How much time did you get into Dicey Dungeons?
So here's the thing. Okay, about full disclosure. Okay. Now that I can reveal to you.
Yeah.
Found out Dicey Dungeons has a mobile version of the game.
Hey, let's go.
So I did a small amount of research about like the mobile version because I didn't know what it would consist of. So I didn't want to get like a super shrunk down version of the game.
Yeah.
And then like one article talking about the game being released to mobile, it was like saying, oh, fans of the game is really excited because they feel like the game is perfect for mobile. Mm-hmm. And I was like, cool. That's great.
Yeah, I actually knew a little bit. I was going to ask if you would I don't recall if we talked about it the week before when we actually recorded the first half of the episode. Mm-hmm. But I said, I know it's on consoles for sure, and I was on PC because I play it on PC.
Yeah.
And I knew about the mobile ports. I don't think I brought it up. I don't remember at this point now if I did or not. Mm-hmm. But yeah, from my understanding of reading all the reviews of the mobile port, it's actually a very, very well done mobile port. Like, I mean, which is a relatively simple game to be fair, right? Mm-hmm. But like, there's no issues of like bugginess or the game's not saving properly and all this other stuff. So that's the important part that I was worried about if you went the route of going mobile, because I knew that you had the trip going on as well. So I was like, are you gonna cram all your gaming in like the day before the trip and then the day when you come back? Is that all you're getting out of this thing?
On Dicey
yeah, exactly. Which to be fair, it is a very much so a bingeable game too. But yeah, so you should play the mobile port.
Yes.
So what do you think?
So just a little background of just me playing it a little bit, and then I'll get into the game itself. Yeah. So I did definitely probably pour way too much time into the game over the course of the trip, much to the chagrin of like probably the people around me. But
so that means my job is done. I did my job. I recommended a good game.
Yeah, so it is fun. So, like, short answer, it is fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was playing it like pretty much in between like conversations, in between like during flights, in between like traveling.
Lulls of like the excitement of traveling.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So, because like mostly like probably the game I played the most on mobile was Clash Royale. Okay. Which like it's cool. Like it gave me like time
pick up, put down kind of thing.
But like I'm kind of past that at this point. But like. Having this new one to sit here in front of me is like, okay, cool. Like this is something fresh.
Nice.
So yeah, I had plenty of time to play it and stuff. So let's get into it.
Yeah. What's the first thing you want to touch upon here then?
All right. So the tone of the game. My first impression, like when I opened up the game, was like it seemed like pretty upbeat with like the game show aesthetic with the tone and the music.
Yeah.
I'm comparing it to obviously Slay the Spire, which is obviously more drab and stuff.
Yeah. We talked about that I think in the first half where I explained that it was like a game show style kind of like like a theme to it.
So so saw that and I was like, okay, cool. My notes here I have dice mechanic very easy to pick up on. Interesting that dice can act as a countdown for some attacks. Statuses are also intriguing. Game is built to have you burn through dice quicker or have higher costs of playing dice. So the whole thing of it being so dice based and the things that you can do with dice is extremely like it's like a very interesting and engaging thing just because of the novelty of it alone. The best way to describe it is like it's a simple concept with a lot of depth. So like so it's like okay, you can jump in and immediately go right into it. Yeah. But as you play the game and get further and further in, you realize there's a lot
new weapons and all this other stuff. Yeah. So that's the thing I wanted to really get into. For I guess like the first thing I wanted to focus on for this episode was the mechanics of the different attacks, right? So you start off as a warrior class essentially is for the first one, right? The little red dice with the sword on them, right?
Yes.
Most of the classes are very simple, very much so like the Ironclad, right? Very like unga bunga. Put a dice here, it does damage.
Yeah.
If you get this specific number, it does more damage, or like add 3 fire as well to your attacks, right? Whatever it is. And then once you get later into the run, even more so with other characters as well too, you start seeing the other weapons, the countdown stuff, the poison stuff, the blind stuff, right? The zap stuff or weaken, right? You get to see a lot more of like not just the typical just give me a number, that's how much damage you do. You know what I mean, kind of things, right? And then you get to experience a little more of like the did you do any like dice manipulation stuff as well too in your decks or no?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I did do like short answer, yes. There was, and like I'll go through it when I go through like the characters a bit more, but yeah, I did like test out like different things in terms of like mostly myself was like status based when I was like playing through.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I did some manipulation. It was interesting to do dice manipulation, only because like some of the things like I started moving away from because I felt like, oh, yeah, I can manipulate the dice to do X, but if I do that, that may open me up for like an attack for something else. So I was like, oh, this may not be the best to use in this situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did definitely dabble into a lot of like all the statuses and stuff, and like some I leaned in way more heavily than others.
Yeah, like so you mentioned before again, it was like very easy on the surface of it, but it has depth to it.
Yeah.
Even though because again, you look at the grid of like your attacks or your abilities, right? You only have like 6 at most, technically, right?
Yes.
More often than not, I'm running like 4. Usually, I'm using 2 tall boys, and then 2 of the smaller ones. You know what I mean? You can rearrange them however you want.
Yeah.
I always just go like the taller ones that I can't shrink anymore on the left side and the middle, and then if I can shrink them all the way down, I'll put them on the right side.
Yeah.
This is how my brain works.
Yeah.
That's just an organizational thing, right?
Yeah. I would just to clarify the like 2 tall boys. Like, whoa, there's no. You have 6 technically equipment slots. Some items take up 2 slots. Some items take up 1 slot.
Yes.
So when you talk to tall boys, that's basically a 2 slotter.
It's like 2 by 3 or 2 by 6 if I remember.
It's 2 by 3,
something like that, right?
Yeah, 2 by 3.
And the 2 by 6 is a tall one.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So there's that. So it's like it's either like a long rectangle or a shorter rectangle. Basically, again, you can fit 2 of the small cards within 1 if you have like one an ability you can upgrade and make it smaller, or it just has a smaller blueprint in the first place. But yeah, so yeah, again, like it does have a bit of like that RNG feel to it, right? You know, when I compare again, there's gonna be a lot of references to Slay the Spire here because obviously that's like when we both play already. We both acknowledge that we both play a lot, and we just know it a little bit better than Dicey Dungeons. I've also dumped a lot of time into Dicey Dungeons as well too, but Slay the Spire is my comfort if I compare the two.
Yeah.
But the whole point of like card building games is that you remove as much RNG as possible because you learn how to manipulate your deck, right? For this game, it's manipulating the dice. That's how I treat it. For you, how do you treat your focus on manipulating the dice, or did you make your abilities as easy to put stuff into? What did you do?
So it's very interesting that you bring that up because a lot of I kind of like was bouncing across. I don't think I had like a set thing where I was like, oh, I feel super comfortable with this, especially with the different characters because obviously there's wildly different mechanics for the different characters. So like one run I felt like, okay, I'm gonna go like status heavy with this one, and then like another run I'd be like, oh, I'm just gonna lay the lumber. I'm just gonna go ahead and just knock everything out.
Damage.
Yeah, glass cannon, go all in, and then like other runs I was like, okay, I'm gonna have like my big attack, and then I'm gonna have like shielding. I'm concentrating survival and shielding and healing, and like just making sure survival, just whittled them down. And so, and I think that's like one of the great things about this game is that like you even with like one character, you can play in so many different ways that like even like picking a strategy, you still are open to trying new strategies with the same people, and then especially when you go out into now the different characters. You do that same thing with those characters now, you're probably looking at like 30, 40, 50 different ways to play the game.
Yeah. So, because like in Slay the Spire, you're stuck to whatever card your character has, right?
Yeah.
In this game, like each individual character has a specific deck of cards they're essentially how to use. In Dicey Dungeons, all the attack cards are the same essentially across the board, and what modifies it for each individual character is your special ability, right? That's a big one. That's to help you manipulate it, and then the character's innate like how their play style is in the first place, right? So it changes even if it's technically the same weapons. You can still see that you're gonna see the same weapons across the board for all different characters. The characters how they run is like the big contributing factor to how different each run feels, basically.
Yeah. Like 1,000%.
Yeah.
So, so like for Warrior in particular, since we were talking about him, I went all in. Had like the status one, had like the survival one where I cared about shield and healing in the middle of battle. I ran some of the abilities that had like, oh, you have to hit this certain number of pouring a number of dice into it. Had the double dice ones.
Yeah, I avoid the double dice ones just because like I'm always like in my mind I was like it's like a percentage thing, right? It's like how often am I gonna get double dice to get certain things to happen, and I want to also maximize my damage. And then eventually I get lazy. I just get rid of them. I'm just like, not whatever. I just want one.
So, and like that's also part of it too. It's like, how much do you really want to work mentally?
How much math and percentage and probability, like math, do I want to do in my head? Yes. Like, no.
So, just going through like more first impressions of the game, basically. The map layout. I'm gonna pull a little bit of a pull here. Okay. Map layout reminded me of Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2's map. I don't know if you remember that map.
Yeah, it's like not exactly a grid, but like but it's like you can kind of move your way around a little bit. Like sometimes you'll have like one unobstructed route, but like you want to go a different way, you have to take a fight on or something, like take an event on kind of deal, right? Yeah.
So I was like, that's the first thing it reminded me of when I saw the map layout. I was like, oh, this reminds me of just Dragon Ball Z Budokai.
Yeah, I was trying to remember trying to remember if there was something else that I've seen the map layout before in, and I was like, I've seen it kind of in like. Like other roguelikes, but not exactly. It's technically different because like you get to choose however you want to take the floor on, essentially.
And that's like the next thing I wanted to go into, because like the freedom in which you can move around the map, like it gives you complete freedom. Yeah. Like to the point where like you can't move past an enemy if it's blocking a path, but you can just like walk up to an enemy and just like see what they are, and then like dip back and do like another path and whatever.
Yeah, like if you see one's a level 3 versus one's a level 2, you're like, I want to take the level 3 before I take the level 2 on, like because there are some level 2 fights that are harder. Like, in my opinion, than like taking on like if I had to fight the little puppy baby wolf, right, with the little bandana on it. It's cute, right?
The baby wolf and the dire wolf, two of my favorite characters.
Yeah. Right? So like the baby wolf, I'll take that fight on whatever level. You know what I mean? It's like it was a relatively easy fight, right? The jellyfish, same thing, right? But then if I take on like I forgot the name of it. It's like the weather. You know what I mean?
Oh yes, I know who you're talking about.
Even if that's like a level 3 or like a level like a level 4, I'm like absolutely I have to take that fight earlier than possible because I don't want to take that fight on. Or if I can get the level up first, and then I'll come back for that fight if I need like something off that fight. You know what I mean? That's what I'll usually do.
Yeah, I got the feeling, and like just playing through and being able to see the layout of all the enemies and stuff where they are, being able to choose your path freely, even if you walk up to where a space an enemy was, that you basically got to a point where if you like depending on how seriously you want to take the game, you could basically scout what your enemies do.
You're supposed to, honestly.
Yeah. And that's why I got the feeling of. So it's like, like I'm walking up on the snowman. There's a snowman on the map, and it's like, okay, I know before the snowman fight, I need to equip like a fire type attack to make sure I take advantage of that fight and stuff like that. There's even a point, and you'll know what I'm talking about. There's a point where you fight a certain boss, and before you go to that boss, there's a chest there, and you have to pick up the item in that chest and equip it to defeat the boss. If you don't equip it, you will not beat the boss. Yeah. I thankfully did equip it, but I can only imagine.
Yeah. Remembering that if you pick something up, it doesn't automatically equip into your weapons; it goes into your backpack. Was a thing that I screwed up a lot earlier on because I would just assume, oh no, it's going to my deck. You know what I mean? And I was like, wait, nope, hold on, I screwed up.
Yeah, so I was like, because I picked it up and I was just like, well, obviously this has got to be very, very pertinent to the next fight. So
not always. That's the thing, right? Because sometimes your deck's already kind of like rolling. You know what I mean? Like, I've gotten my deck to like a point where I can manipulate whatever I need to, or it doesn't matter what I roll. Every dice, regardless of how quote unquote good or bad the roll is, is gonna affect something in my ability deck, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, but like for that boss battle, like obviously, it was
Yeah,
like,
it can be a little bit more pertinent to actually have it available. Yeah.
So, but yeah, overall, if you feel like you're rolling good already, it's just like, oh, another item that I have. But yes, definitely scouting ahead is very, very important. And with the amount of items sometimes you get in one run, that like that whole reason of getting all that stuff is to be like, I can shift my equipment for certain battles at certain times.
Was it the buff girl? Aubrey or whatever her name was?
It may have been the buff girl.
Yeah, Aubrey, I think her name was something like that, like Aubrey or Adeline or something like that.
Yeah, it was Aubrey. I think. Yeah, Aubrey.
That's a rough fight. That's a rough fight if you get kind of screwed out on stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's definitely the character. Like I'm definitely just not getting the character.
Yeah, it's same thing as Slay the Spire. Like you're gonna click with certain characters and certain ones you're just not going to. Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the defect in Slay the Spire.
Yeah, exactly.
Keeps me up at night.
It depends. But yeah, so I guess you got to play a little of everybody then at least so far.
Yeah, I got to play with every character, which was like kind of like my goal.
Yeah.
I was trying to beat at least one episode with every character. Did not do that, but got at least enough playtime with all of them that like I know what they do. So and just so for me, I was like played through the Warrior, got past the first episode, and then kind of saw the reveal of like all the characters in the game. So I was like, okay, cool, all right. So like this is when like the how the depth of the game started getting revealed to me. I was like, okay, this is cool. Basically, so like I had my first impression basically of all the characters. Like so like Thief, I was like, okay, he has some interesting mechanics. Wasn't understanding them at first, but then like as I went through the game with it, I was like, okay, like I'm feeling this. Okay. Robot. What I wrote down was like, oh, it really threw me off starting off, and then I learned to love it because his jackpot mechanic.
Yeah, the robot's just gambling.
Yeah. I was like,
that's why I love it because I tend to go for the high roll. I'm like, because so if you hit it exactly, you get everything. Basically, everything just goes good for you. That's it's just like a jackpot before your actual ability. And I'm like, it's like when I play blackjack, and I'm like,
hit me.
You're at 16. Hit me. Like I should just take what what I mean? Just all the bad habits that everyone hates at the table. It's like, no, I'm going all in. Give me it.
Oh my. Well, like I loved it because like of how much manipulation you could do for the jackpot.
Yeah,
and I was just like, I would just load everything. I'm like, oh, I'm always gonna get jackpot.
Always commit.
Yeah. So like, and like I ended up like once I got towards like the middle to the end of like playing him a lot, like I was basically setting up my equipment to be like, oh, I'm gonna get jackpot like 9 times out of 10.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying, right? Again, the game is. The game seems random at first because it's dice rolls, it's just random chance, right?
Yeah.
But once you learn each individual character's kind of play style, you learn, okay, no, I have a lot more control in how to manipulate everything. You know what I mean? Everything's a lot more in my control than it seems on the surface, basically.
And it's funny like that statement right there, because that is kind of like the premise of like the story of the narrative of the game.
Exactly.
Is that you are not in control of anything that is happening in the moment.
Lady Luck is in control of everything. She's the one running the show. And then, surprise, no, you're right. You were very much so able to manipulate everything, like, and have your, control your destiny, basically.
Yes. And like, so like that parallel of like narrative with gameplay is like perfect.
It's so good, right? Yeah. What do you think about the learning curve of this game?
The learning curve, like I said, very easy to get into, very easy to start off, which I think a low barrier to entry for games is important.
Yeah. Especially roguelikes. Me and Jeff have had these conversations where he doesn't like roguelikes because they're so difficult. He's like, not all of them, but a lot. He thinks a lot of roguelikes are just difficult for the sake of being difficult. Where I'm on the side of, I like that difficulty. It's my job to get good. That's my job to learn how to get, how to become skillful within the rules and the confines and the parameters that the game has set before me. That's my job as a gamer, to learn how to get good within whatever roguelike I'm playing or whatever game that I'm playing. That's my job. But I think a game like this, because it's I'm in even more so this versus Slay the Spire, I think this has probably one of the best learning curves in like roguelike gaming ever and in deck building games ever. Because you could just pick it up and it's like roll the dice and just roll what happens and see what happens. And but then like, once that moment clicks, you're like, okay, I can actually like, make a deck that runs around specific dice, or like I can run the deck that manipulates all the dice, or I can just pump heavy damage into everything that I do. You know what I mean? Like, so you can go as complex as you want, basically. I mean, we joked about it before. It's like, how much math and probability statistics do I want to work with? Or do I just want to go unga bunga, roll dice, haha, me have fun? Or gamble?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like, I mean, like, listen, there's something thrilling about getting a jackpot. But let me see. Oh, okay. But yeah, as far as the learning curve goes, like, it's very, like I said, very easy to get into, low barrier to entry. Me, I feel like for games, like, one of the best things you can do as a game developer is make a game that has a low barrier to entry, but also has a deep enough and like a high enough skill ceiling that, oh, if you put some time in on this game, or if you like really study what's happening with this game, you can like really kick butt and like, turn it into a power fantasy if need be. But like if you don't, you can still get through, but it's gonna be tougher and you're gonna feel it.
If you don't want to learn the mechanics, basically how it is. Absolutely.
Like you can play it, but like you're not gonna be gaming until like,
It's like I don't know if I've ever used this analogy before, but it's kind of like, the reason why Smash Brothers is popular, right? Is because it's like it's one button for one attack and one button for the other attack, and all you change the direction, right? That's basically it.
Yeah.
Versus like learning to play like Street Fighter or like Tekken or like Soul Calibur, anything where it requires much more knowledge of like, intricate combos and spacing and all this other stuff. Yes, Smash also has that difficulty as well too. Yeah. But it's for very much so it's like you can be a newcomer and pick it up because okay, there's only 3 buttons to worry about. Cool, I got this. You know what I mean? Versus like looking at somebody with a fight pad and you're like, okay, well they're playing a symphony on their fight pad. I don't know what the hell they're doing. You know what I mean? It's like it's like that's the nice thing about Smash. The lower barrier to entry is what makes it so popular versus other fighting games, which are kind of popular because it's like the hype around it, and then it very much so quickly dies off. Because it's like the casual player has no place in that game anymore. You know what I mean? So like a game. In general, like not just Dicey Dungeons, not just fighting games, whatever. It's like the low barrier to entry is a major point for a lot of games to become and stay consistently, enjoyable for a larger community.
Yeah. So like that's it, and I know like other games like Dark Souls, for instance, like have the high barrier to entry. And those I've had fun with those games too, and
but
like
that's also the point of the game.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the point of the game. And it's like I feel like the only difference between like that and the other like low barrier to entry games is like time. It's like you pour more time into it, you practice. Yeah, just like anything else, you practice, you get better. And like it depends on how much time you want to pour into it.
Exactly.
Yeah, for like a game that has a mobile port like this, low barrier to entry means a low time investment if need be, which is perfect if you're on the move. Yeah. So just that idea. But like if you want to sink hours into this game,
easily can.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I played this on the computer for like mostly. I mean, ever since then I've gotten Steam Deck, right? And even in the house, right? There's a remote play for PCs, right? I can just log into my Steam on my phone, and I can be on the couch downstairs and just like playing Dicey Dungeons or Slay the Spire or whatever. It's like, oh, this is great. Like I can sit down on the couch, play an hour of this, or play like 5-10 minutes of it and can move along, right? Or those nights, like especially when I was still working like the graveyard shift or the third shift, and I'm like, but like I would get home like 5 a.m. and no one's awake, so I can't talk to anybody. I was like, I'm here in my room, like kind of in the dark, just like playing Dicey Dungeons, especially when I got into the rabbit hole in the first place for like 3-4 hours straight, just like the sun's out. I'm like, okay, well, how's everyone doing? I've lost 3 hours of my life to this game. So there's that.
It's very easy. It's very easy to do. Yeah. It's very easy to do. Yeah. I definitely was in a hotel room, like not sleeping when I was supposed to, and like
it's a good travel game, right?
Yeah, absolutely, 100% would recommend a travel game.
Like, I have the Steam Deck now, right? So like I can also bring my save with me now as well too, because it's like not just on my computer, it's on the cloud save. I can bring it on the Steam Deck as long as I'm hooked up to the internet somehow. I can play exactly my entire save file and just bring it with me.
Yeah. So So yeah, going through like Adventure was cool. I like his is a little wonky, his abilities, but like I was cool. I talked about the witch already. Love that she's an influencer.
Yeah, right. It's goofy. It's very meta. It's very meta.
Very. I was like, I saw the hashtags and I was like, wow, love that. And I also love that. Also, one of the monsters I think is also like a sorceress or something, and she also uses hashtags all the time.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh,
exactly. Like, she's literally like a witch on a broom, right? Yeah, exactly her. Yeah.
So I'm just like, wow, okay. So every female magic user is a influencer.
Exactly.
So I was like, okay, cool. Like I said, looking through the progression of the game, we talked about like the difficulty.
Yeah.
And going into like getting up to that skill ceiling, I like the way the game breaks it down. Like so like the game obviously has all the characters. All the characters have different ways to play it. They also put like a difficulty, like quote unquote level for each character.
It's kind of like, here's a kind of a rough estimate of how hard this character is to pick up and play. Kind of deal. Yeah.
So like so they do give you that, and then like once you go through, I love that when you go through like the characters like episodic like journey, you know, each episode is basically like, oh, here, go through the dungeon, but with this modifier or with this like debuff or this like things like this and that, and I'm like, that like opens up so many, because you're getting literally 36 different game experiences.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and like vastly different from the others. And so like that opens up like, oh, I'm basically, anytime I open up a new door, I'm getting a new game.
Yeah, exactly. So like in comparison to like the Ascensions in Slay the Spire has 20 different levels of modifier, right? And the thing is, I think because that game is a lot more thinky, right? At least in my opinion, right? It's fine for them having these more minute changes, right? Like, okay, like, so like in Ascension 1, like you know, I forgot exactly what Ascension 1 was, but like enemies hit harder, like just basic enemies hit harder or whatever.
Yeah, I think so.
You know, something
like that.
Yeah, it's
been so long.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've gone back to the lower Ascensions. Like, oh yeah, here's how we do it. And then it's like, oh, like, and then when you get to like level 10, it's like, oh, you start with a curse in your deck. You know what I mean? And you don't heal to full after boss fights anymore, like Ascension 9 or something like that, or 8. Well, I forgot what it was. So it's like, okay, yeah. So like those are so like between that and like 10, there's like a bunch of smaller changes. You know what I mean? Like, oh, bosses hit harder at level 7. You know what I mean? And then, you know, there's more elites or something like that. You know, something along those lines, right? There's a bunch of smaller changes. For this game was like, there's 6 different episodes for each individual character. So it's like, okay, well, now your character only has one arm, and he can only roll odds for some reason. Like, so, you know, it's like, oh, that's obviously, I'm exaggerating, but like that's how different that next run is with the same character. You know what I mean? Like that, the next episode is very, very different, and because of that, again, and also because it is still a game of like quote unquote chance, right? It makes the game feel extremely different on every episode you play, basically. Even if you play the same episode again, it still feels very different.
And then that goes into like the different ways that you can play the game. And like one example for like one of the episodes for the warrior is like, oh, when you level up you actually lose health instead of gaining health. And it was just like, oh, I think I got through that episode. I don't know how, because it's just like you don't really think about it like, oh, it's not that bad until you realize how low your health pool gets towards the end. And then you're like,
you start thinking like, I need to avoid a couple fights so I don't level up and quote unquote heal, basically.
See, I bang my head against the wall, and I always get max level in all my
right. That's the thing. That's a completionist to me. I was like, I can't leave without getting the max level.
I'm like, I'm getting a good max level. More dice.
I want extra dice. More dice gambling. Dogecoin.
But yeah, like just like that, it's like you have to completely change your approach at that point. Exactly. So it's like I can't just be oonga boonga. I gotta be like, ooh, let me. How do I survive? How do I heal?
Like,
how do I?
Like you have to think like strategically. Is like, do I heal here, or do I let myself level up, get the full heal, but then lose a little bit of health, like off the top? You know, I was like, okay. Maybe I skip a fight. Maybe I go to the shop and hopefully there's an apple there so I can heal there as well too. You know, maybe kind of top off before, and maybe I'll skip one fight so I can go with an extra 2 health or whatever into the final boss kind of thing. You know what I mean? So
like so many different ways that you can go about it, and like they're not just within the fight, but how you want to traverse the map and go through. Couple of extra things. Obviously, the story gets more interesting the more you play, and I mean that in the sense of like the narrative being revealed of not only like the dice characters, because that gets pretty put out very clear.
Yeah, yeah.
But like the minions in the dungeon too, and what their role may truly be.
Yeah, yeah.
Because like you get to unlock one of the minions as your character, and I was like, okay,
Makes a lot of sense, right? Yeah. Yeah, very, very. Again, the game's very meta. Like it's very aware, it's very aware of itself. But again, it's like it's fun. You know what I mean? Again, not the same deep dark fantasy as like a Slay the Spire or anything else, right? You know, like we were joking about it before, like which was an influencer. Like it's funny. You know what I mean? But yeah, like character we're talking about specifically is the Jester. So who starts off initially as one of the mini bosses, I guess technically.
Like it's one of the
fight towards the end of the
he's one of the bosses. He's also the not the host, but like the
assistant to Lady Luck.
Yeah.
Where, you know, he kind of joins her along and, you know, and kind of taunting, you know, you or the main character, Dice, whichever you're playing technically. You know, and kind of being like, haha, well, you're stuck in here. Too bad. Move along, you know, kind of deal. Like, he's like, you know, why do I want to be stuck here working under her? I'm going to go ahead and do my own thing.
Yeah.
Basically, that's what he does. That's basically what he does. He becomes a Dice and you get to play as him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like again, you kind of get to see like as well as like all throughout the dungeon as well too. Like you get to see the other characters, like the little baby wolf, right? Like he's like, if you see my mom, say hi to her. And I was like, oh, that's cute. That's adorable.
I love that they like you're just like the go between them. Like, hey, if you see my son, can you tell him to brush his teeth?
Yeah,
and I'm just like,
so cute.
Sure.
After I finish beating the hell out of you, sure. I guess I'll go find your son down the next run.
Just wailing on this baby wolf and like, don't forget to brush your teeth. It's like, what? I'm sorry.
Yeah, like was it the snowman, right? Like he's like the snowman is like cool. Like he has sunglasses on and he's like super chill. And I was like, oh damn, he's really cool. And they're like, oh, it's funny because he's a snowman. It's just like a little cute dumb humor that's really really funny. That's like implemented in the game too.
No, I like the little pieces that even when you're unlocking like I guess the character trophies, character cards, and stuff like that. Like they have little blurbs there,
little
and like,
flavor text.
Yeah, and it's like it's not much, and it doesn't need much. The game doesn't need much of that, but like it's cool to just have that little bit of world building and like character building and stuff like that. Also, one thing that I definitely want to hit on was super surprised that you can become a bear at some points during the game.
Yeah,
and was like. So the first time I became a bear, I think I ended up dying in battle or something like that. So didn't like get the full experience of it. Then like next time I became a bear, actually won my fight. Then was like, oh, I wonder if I can be a bear outside of combat. And then I could be a bear outside of combat. And I was like, oh, I can be a bear the whole time. I don't know. And I finished.
I'm trying to think if that was like. I don't know if that was in the original game or not, because that might have been later updated or not. Because I don't think I've ever experienced that part.
Oh, dude,
it's been a while since I gone back to it. Because like I usually just play the game and I kind of like session cool, I'm done, and I kind of move along. But like now that I haven't sat down and played it in a while.
It's how I beat my run as the thief. I turned into a bear, and then like I was just a bear.
Just brute forced it,
pretty much, because like, you can even upgrade your weapons as the bear, which is basically you're upgrading your claws.
Oh, sick. Okay.
Yeah, so there's like, oh, you want to just keep upgrading your claws?
Damn, I missed out on something. Then I got to go back and play. I missed out on a couple of these.
And exactly what we're talking about. Like just so many different like layers to this thing. Yeah. But like yeah, and I was just like, this is awesome. And then all the dialogue changes when you're walking through as a bear. Everyone talks about, oh, hey, furry buddy, you got a little hair more. Anyway, and like stuff like this. Like obviously you don't get access to like trading equipment and stuff like that. But like you can still upgrade like your claws and stuff. So, but like just the fact like that's a thing.
Yeah, the fact that it just changes your whole run kind of thing.
It's like this is awesome.
It's kind of like a joke, but also like here's kind of like here's a little easy pass. Like you go ahead and just smash your way through the rest of this level, basically.
It was just hilarious, and I was like, wow, this is great. I love this.
That's awesome. Yeah, I don't remember ever seeing that because I remember like when I was playing the game again. I have a couple episodes unlocked with every character. I think I have like 2 or 3 with each, I think, now unlocked for everybody, essentially.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I got back to it. I think the last time I played was maybe like a month ago before the wedding.
Yeah. To be fair, it's a very specific circumstance that
Yeah.
you need to
Okay, so
to have that.
maybe something that I never triggered. This
Yeah, I think
or something
I
like
think
that.
probably the thief and maybe one of the other characters if they have the ability, but like mainly the thief because he can steal equipment. Like that's kind of like the only
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha,
So like you
gotcha.
have to run into a character that has it.
I think the inventor might be able to do that as well too.
Yeah.
because you also get rid of equipment, or is it? Wait,
Well, one of them, one of the other characters
Thief
having
steals equipment from every enemy.
yeah, thief does that automatically, but there's like another
Who could,
ability.
Who could like make equipment. I guess.
Yeah,
Okay. Cool.
yeah,
I gotta maybe I'll check it out. Maybe it's just specific circumstance that I never got around to.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
it's definitely like I like thinking about it now. It's definitely like a low chance of
to
it.
get it in the first place.
Yeah, to get to that position.
Yeah, maybe if I look through the Steam trophies, I can see like so Steam trophies are kind of like Xbox achievements or like PlayStation trophies. So it's like, maybe it's like in there, and I like the achievements are in there. It's like it says become a bear, just like something straight up.
Yeah, and you just become, and I just ran through the run. And I was just like, I was just like, this is fun, and it's like I won't say like it's quote unquote power fantasy, but like you can definitely like if you like Unga Boonga,
that's
Oonga
the one
Boonga.
you Unga Bunga
Yeah.
went through exactly. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, I gotta go back and check it out then. Maybe see if I can force that to happen. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
and what else did you want to cover before we not wrap up, but like I have a couple other questions for you.
That's pretty much it as far as my thing. Like just very easy to get wrapped up in the game. Obviously, I don't know how many hours I ended up putting into it. Probably, definitely, maybe like 20. I don't know.
Solid. yeah, that's
like,
good. And because again, that was the fear that I had initially as well too. Because I remember I mentioned it before. It's like I know I knew we were going on the wedding trip, and I was just like scared. I was like, oh, what if you don't get enough time to play this game? You know what I mean? But then, I had it in the back of my mind. I was like, I think there's a mobile port. I'll let you know. It's like, and I said, pick whatever one you want, and just let me know how you get around to playing it, basically kind of deal. And that's cool. So it worked out even better, basically. The fact that the mobile port's actually good. And again, I've read reviews saying that the mobile port is good on so without like a lot of issues with crashing and all this other stuff kind of deal. In comparison this to Slay the Spire, what do you think is the easier one to get into?
Easier one to get into Dicey Dungeons.
Dicey Dungeons. Okay.
Yeah, by far.
In terms of depth, do you think it's enough there to outlast Slay the Spire, or do you think it's just do you think they're not comparable in this aspect?
I mean, it's always difficult to compare a mobile game to a console port.
It's the same game.
Yeah,
there is a Slay the Spire on the phone too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So if you want to say that,
Slay the Spire on the phone.
It is. From my understanding, the port's pretty good. There's a couple issues. Some people had issues with like losing their save. Just everything getting wiped.
I would be
that would be very upset too. Yeah, so I was like, maybe I don't buy it because I already have it for Steam Deck. I'll just live with the Steam Deck.
I would say I feel like in terms of dev, I think Slay the Spire has more. It's like different types of dev. Like Slay the Spire is like for the lack of a better term, is like girthier in terms of like.
I don't like that term. Find another word.
No, gonna stick with girth.
Veinier depth to it.
Just
God damn it, John.
It's just girth, just a girthier, veinier depth for Slay the Spire. But no, like I feel like with Slay the Spire, with the relics and the cards.
That's true. Yeah, the relics do modify your runs as well too.
And the bigger like quote unquote dungeons, floors, whatever. Like it's just a bigger experience overall.
It's like a deeper like item pool. Essentially because of it.
Dicey Dungeons gets its deepness not from the quantity of product that it puts out for you. It gets it from the variety in which you can use said product.
Okay. So I guess my question's a little bit moot, I guess, because they are technically different in terms of how they treat depth and difficulty. But do you see yourself picking up this more than Slay the Spire, or do you see yourself kind of like they kind of live both at the same time? There's no reason to knock one or the other.
Yeah, like this one, if I had my console, I would definitely play my console.
Yeah.
So Slay the Spire would like live in a different world than Dicey Dungeons. As like a mobile game though, like I don't play a lot of mobile games, but
neither do I. Yeah. Like I very seldom do, but when I do, it's usually like a port of a game that I already enjoy in the first place. And again, for me, I've got a different situation. I've got a Steam Deck, and before that I had the Switch, right? So I'm buying games again to have them on the go. Dicey Dungeons is one of those games as well too that I bought multiple times. Like I bought it out for the PC, and then obviously I got it for free on the Steam Deck. I just connected to my PC, and then I bought it for Switch. Yeah, I bought it for Switch. There we go. So it's all there. You know what I mean? So
yeah. But like as a mobile game, I feel like this is like just great, like the mobile port and like the style of game it is.
Yeah.
Especially like being able just to pick it up and put it down immediately if you need to, or like pour whatever amount of time if you're doing a long trip, like flight, train, whatever.
It is something you can actually focus on. It's not like brain dead. You know what I mean? Like you actually have to think a little bit. Like I mean, I know it gets a bad rap, but and I don't feel like dumpstering on it. But like, people play Bejeweled or Candy Crush, and it's kind of just like, oh, it's a match 3. You kind of just play it, and you kind of turn your brain off a little bit while you're playing, right? Like this one, like no, I like playing games that actively allow me, like actively have me thinking on what I'm doing, kind of thing. You know what I mean? I don't want to like just completely shut my brain off when I'm doing something, especially if it's something tedious or I'm taking a trip somewhere. It's like, no, I want to be actively engaged as much as possible.
1,000%. And this will definitely like feed that desire. And like, which for a mobile game, I feel like for me, I think it's like a big deal, but like, especially like the way this game is built, like I think it's like perfect for like just having it on your phone and getting a ton of it.
It makes sense. In terms of the layout.
Yeah.
Which again worked out for you perfectly because you had a trip, so you got to
exactly. And like I got the experience of it, and I played on the flight back and stuff, and it's like so I mean,
golden.
Yeah, golden.
That's cool. Yeah, man. I appreciate you you actually trying it out. You know, like because again, like one of the reasons I got you onto the show is because you actually listen to my recommendations first off. Aside from the rest of our friend group.
Are you a little salty looking?
A little bit. Can you tell?
a little salty.
But yeah, again, and because the game that we happen to share an enjoyment of is Slay the Spire. Again, like because I got into Slay the Spire, I was looking for other games that were similar to it, and this game showed up on my radar. I was like, okay, cool, I'll try it out. And yeah, again, same thing. Like I remember falling into like a 40-hour rabbit hole with Slay the Spire. I fell into like a 20-hour rabbit hole with Dicey Dungeons. And I got to go back and play it again now. Actually, I got one last question here. Did you find yourself like kind of just throwing yourself at the wall to see what would happen? Or did you like actively try to think every one of your runs through? Because that is something that I do in Slay the Spire where I play too fast sometimes that I don't realize I'm actually not thinking and I'm just kind of playing through muscle memory and like instinct. You know what I mean? Which is not good because I lose a lot of runs because of it. You know what I mean?
So this probably explains my struggles with The Witch probably best because I feel like the difficulty in The Witch and the reason why they make it like they say it's like the most difficult is because you really have to go into every turn really thinking about not only what you have available to you, but like how to use and completely maximize every single turn. Like you can't leave meat on the bone in any turn with the Witch. Otherwise, like you're opening yourself up for like failure. So like with some of the warrior runs, especially my early on runs, some of it was throwing stuff early on, was throwing stuff against the wall early on, or just trying to just brute force my way through the game. And then like when I got like middle to late part of me playing the game over the weekend, I started realizing like, oh, I can like start like using certain things like a certain way, and like maybe this is the better thing. Like maybe I should concentrate more on survival this run, like not always be attack. Maybe like like heal, like defend myself, like depending on what it is. And then like I didn't really get a chance to really implement this part of it, but like I started grasping that like, oh, I can just plan like my course as I'm fighting enemies. When I see my enemies on the floor, be like, oh, okay, like I have to have this ready for this enemy, this ready for that enemy.
Yeah, I see myself pivoting more in the later floor to like something more balanced. Like the way I relatively similar to how Slay the Spire goes. The first couple levels are damage races. You know what I mean? I'm like, I just want to get as much stuff that hits and as either as easily as possible or as much as possible, right? It's like odds is like do odds for this much damage, do evens to shield this much damage. Like that thing, I forgot what it's called, like the double-edged sword or double shield or whatever it's called, like sword and shield, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, cool, that's perfect for like the later part of the game because like, well, I'm keep that in my backpack because I'm gonna need something that gives me a little bit of defense later on, right? But early on, it's like I forgot what it's called, like cauldron, which you like re-rolls the dice. But then like there's other
cauldrons.
There's like a cauldron plus, right? And then there's the magic cauldron.
Yeah, the glass cauldron, the gold cauldron.
Like, okay, cool. He just gives me just re-rolls a dice for me. And it's like there are other attacks that like doesn't matter what number you put in there, it's just 3 damage as long as it's under 5 or whatever, right? It's like okay, cool, perfect, or under 4. It's like perfect. Okay, awesome. Re-roll. Got it? Cool. Throw it in there. Use 3 more times. Awesome. Unga bunga, turn my brain off, just make sure everything's under 4, and I'll just use that one over and over again.
Yeah.
But then later on in the game, again, you have to start pivoting. You're like, okay, let me start making sure that I have the most damage and efficient output versus also being able to defend and keep myself alive. Like sustainability becomes much more of a thing in the later part of the game. again, same as like Slay the Spire, where again a lot of the earlier fights in the first floor are just damage races. I don't really need a whole lot of defense. I just want to do as more damage than the enemy does to me. And then second floor, third floor is like, okay, I start worrying about like curses. How do I deal with statuses? You know what I mean? And especially because those same thing in this game where, you know, on certain floors, like you know, the loud bird.
Yes.
First off, I hate that motherfucker because he just weakens everything that you fucking do, just makes everything useless.
Yep.
And it's like, and the loud bird thing was the first moment that I experienced like legitimate, like not like first time, but like I experienced legitimate frustration with this game because I was trying to unga bunga my way through the game is like can't do that. Like you have to make sure that you have stuff that can deal statuses to him to make his stuff also much more harder to use as well too, or stuff that's more consistent for you to just be able to use your stuff. Yeah, and it was so damn annoying early on that I had to like learn. It's like, okay, I can't turn my brain off during some of these fights now. I have to actually start paying attention and actually worry about what attacks I'm using, what gear I'm using, and bite the bullet, take something in my backpack if I need to, put it into my gear and actually like properly play the game. I can't just ram my head against the wall just to get through this game, basically.
Yeah, and I like I said, and then that's the beauty of the whole thing because like it pushes you in a path that like is making you learn and then be better at the game when you get later in the game, and like without like forcing the issue.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's like holding your hand, but it's still like kind of guiding you in the right direction, kind of thing. Is like, hey, this fight becomes a little bit weird because they start locking your dice away. Maybe you should.
Maybe you shouldn't take care of that.
Maybe lock their dice away first, or something that's easy for you to use whatever dice you want on your attacks. It's like, okay, that makes more sense actually now thinking about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I guess the last question, I should have asked this earlier, but was there a specific mechanic you liked a lot with the dice? Like I joked about it before, but I avoid double dice. Like, it requires 2 sixes, or to maximize the output, it's like you want 2 sixes. I'm like, but it's like, again, the gamble in me, like, it's funny because I joke about, but the gamble, like, I gotta go for the gamble. But obviously it's like, again, the percentage of getting those high doubles you need every time is much lower. So I it's like, okay, well, can I more often than not get 4s or 3s doubles? Maybe. Yeah, maybe I'll look for one of those equipments kind of thing. You know what I mean? Or I didn't use a lot of countdown equipment. Like I personally, this is not like, because I just hated the idea of like dumping all of my stuff into for a payoff. You know what I mean? That's just me. I want the instant gratification of I do damage right away. You know what I mean? That's just me. I preferred like I had no problem with like manipulating like the spatula, right? The one that flips the dice over. It's like, oh, perfect, because I have one that gives me odd even, right? It's like, oh, perfect, because no matter what, you're gonna get one or the other if you use that spatula, right? Exactly. So it's like, okay, perfect. So was there any particular equipment you like leaned into or avoided because you just didn't like the way it plays, or it's just not for you or your particular play style?
Definitely lean into jackpot once I got a hang with the robot. Because like it was once like I figured like really pushing the odds towards my favor. It was like addicting to just go ahead and
just risk like, everything.
Even like when my dice was like all blinded, I was just like, I'm still hitting jackpot.
Yeah, I'm rolling for it no matter what.
Exactly. I'm still happening. Like you're not stopping this. Okay. So like that was really fun to play. I only played Jester once.
Okay.
I'm undefeated with Jester. Yeah.
Nice. So, okay. It took me like 2 runs to get the Jester that kind of under my fingers.
I think it was because like the deck mechanic reminded me of Slay the Spire, even though it's not really the same thing. Yeah. But like it's like, oh, it's a card deck. Oh, I just have to make sure I have like pairs with me a lot, and I'm just cool, and like cool, that's fine. And then I mostly like that run I had was mostly around like the whole shock feature and like keeping my deck going with that, because like I had an attack where if I shocked the enemy first and I did the attack, I get my dice back. I would just keep getting my dice back and run through my end.
So you had a mechanic that you're like, okay, this is my engine. This is exactly what I played through the entire time.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So like that's how I went through with Jester and everything. There was also going on to your countdown thing. Countdown I also wasn't a fan of in the beginning. Yeah. Countdown was like, oh, I'm just pouring a lot of resources
and I'm not doing anything for a while.
Yeah. But I realized that if I lowered the amount of equipment that I had with me, it became more feasible to have the countdown thing.
Yes.
Because like instead of just having leftover dice I can't do anything with, I was like, oh, I can just put leftover dice into this.
Exactly.
And then it just flows like that. And like that's why I ended up doing, I think, with one of the warrior runs where like I had just a countdown. I had 2 countdown mechanics in my deck.
Oh wow!
I had 2 countdown mechanics in my equipment, and then I had 2 other attacks. I think
Like 2 like 2 of the smaller.
2 of the
ones?
big boys.
Okay.
2 of the tall boys. So like I had 2 attacks that if I rolled 6s for them did a status, but like and then I had one countdown that was like prevented me from dying if I took a fatal blow.
Okay, cool.
And then another countdown that gave me 8 health back once I hit that.
So it's like kind of like a almost like a stall kind of thing if you don't roll high, basically.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So like so basically I would just go ahead and keep that up. I would just be attacking with those 2 attacks. I would try to get 6s as often as possible, get my rerolls going, and then like for the leftover dice, I would just pour into the other 2 things. And then like obviously I would pour into the fatal blow thing first to make sure I don't die, and then I would go ahead and like if I need to be healing, have that low so I would be ready to go.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was cool. Things I did not like, do not like freezing dice because like it basically freezing dice knocks it down to 1. The problem is, like you stated, odds and evens. So if someone has a lot of odd things, then knocking down to 1 doesn't do anything.
Yeah, you still get hit you still get hit by them no matter what.
Yeah, so didn't help. So I moved away from that for my deck. I also like I said, the witch was kind of like the spell management and having to maximize getting spells cycled back into your prepared spells and stuff like that to use, and it was just that's
it's
next
a lot.
level.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah. I think the witch I kind of picked up early, and then I started like realizing, I don't know this as well as I thought I did. Especially once it got to like the next episode with her, I was like, okay, I need to actually like sit down and like learn how to play her properly, basically.
Yeah. So that's definitely the thing that I would need to do, but yeah, overall, gotta say,
cool. Everything's playable.
Yeah,
that's the big thing. Again, overall enjoyable experience.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
Good to know that you enjoyed the game.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for the recommendation.
Yeah, man. Again, I'm just glad that more people are just trying stuff out. You know what I mean? Because again, this is really good. It's a really good game. I've mentioned it in the chat before. I didn't know who else this would appeal to. I was like, maybe Zach would kind of like this game, but I
feel like he really would.
That's what I'm saying, right? I think he actually would enjoy this game, but it's fine if you know, like I get it, life gets in the way, and sometimes you don't have time to pop another game in, kind of thing. When you kind of have your routine already set up, it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, it's a good game. I just want more people to try it. That's basically all it is. You know what I mean? And that's the whole point. I just want to, I'd find a game that I think is cool, and hopefully someone ends up liking it. Basically, that's all I want out of it.
I feel like it's a roguelike that doesn't require a large time investment to go through,
and it doesn't have to have like a large knowledge of previous roguelikes to play it, because it doesn't play like any other really roguelike before it. So there you go.
Yeah,
cool. Well, awesome. Thanks for going and trying this game out for me, and you know, good thing you enjoyed it. Hopefully this stays in your kind of your back pocket type of deal, like literally it's in your phone. So
yes,
cool. So listener, thanks for listening. I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode. Again, with my friend John here as a first guest of the second season, second year of Party XP, I guess. Yeah. So if you guys enjoyed, please leave a like, leave us a review, leave us a comment. Again, we're on all of the major streaming platforms. We really appreciate it, guys. See you guys in the next episode. Take care. Get your morning voice out of you.
Yeah. I woke up.
The flow. The conversation's flowing now. We can click in.
I woke up 7 minutes before I got in my car.
That's me to going to work every day.